Okay. All right, we're just gonna do some sound testing first, so make sure
Like
everything's
us.
going all right. But welcome to the stream, everyone. With Noah again today. He's been in here. How many times has it been? 3 times. So yeah,
Yes, I think so. It's been, well, maybe this is the fourth time even.
yeah, I think
Definitely
so.
a recurrent guest here, which I enjoy.
Yeah. Let me just make sure the quality is all good. I think
Oh, it's
it's
funny seeing myself on stream though. Because I feel like there's like a slight lag between when I say it and when I see it on stream.
yeah.
So that's definitely going to distract me. Is there a way to just view the chat?
There should be a way.
Uh,
I'm not sure if you can do it as a viewer. Um,
not sure. Oh yeah, here.
all right.
Oh, you can pop chat out and just close the stream for Noah.
Voice is a bit low. Wait.
For who? For
Yeah.
me or
For who?
is my voice too low? How does it sound now?
Camera is great. Volume is quite low.
Is the volume better, everyone?
Let's see if I can. Uh, I'll add.
Volume of both of you is low.
Okay, let me
Ew.
fix that up. Uh,
Yeah, 'cause I think my microphone's pretty good there.
all right. That should be a lot better now, hopefully.
Hello. How's the sound now?
Yeah, this is the one thing with streams is you can't test it. All
Yes.
right, I think it sounds good now. Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Hopefully, both sound good. Awesome. Okay.
All
Cool.
right, great. Let's get this
Fantastic.
cracking then.
Yeah. All right. So I will start the recording so that we have the thing for the Spotify, and then we'll start off the podcast. All right. Hello everyone, and welcome to Indie Dev Chat, a live streamed weekly show where I talk to fellow developers. If you're watching this on the stream, you may ask us any questions you have, and we'll try to answer them. Furthermore, if you're on a podcast platform, please check out Mattball on YouTube if you want the absolute full experience with face cams, chat replay, and more. Today, I'm here with Noah from Blackthornprod. Hello, Noah.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Matt. Thanks for joining me, or for inviting me for a fourth time.
Yeah. I think you're probably the highest reoccurring guest out of everyone so far.
I think so.
Yeah.
Closely followed by Jonas, maybe. You've had him quite a bit as well.
Yeah. I don't know. It's quite fun talking to guests multiple times. Yeah.
Definitely.
but
Definitely.
but yeah, I mean, today we're gonna obviously be talking a lot about dashing fire. So how has launch been to start off with? Has it been?
Oh, launches went well, and of course I intend to make a devlog to finalize the the dashing fire journey. So that devlog will come up this weekend, and really just talk in detail
Yeah.
about how the whole launch went,
Hmm.
sales made and stuff. Um, but yeah, all in all, it was a cool launch, and I'm really glad. Yeah, the game was enjoyed by most players. Like the reviews are super good. 97% positive Steam
Wow.
reviews.
That's crazy. That's
So
pretty
here's
good.
me bragging already. I want to stop, but yeah, it definitely was nice to see the
Yeah.
people enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
Um, and it was such fun watching a few live streams. Jonas again, he streams the game. Tim Rustwick also. So lots of game developers that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
So watching them play Dashing Fire was really enjoyable.
Hmm.
Even though I was on the edge of my seats and thinking, oh please, no bugs,
Yeah.
or worried they'd get too frustrated if they died multiple times and just rage quit in front of everyone. thankfully that didn't happen, and they seems to have a good time.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's a good sign.
yeah, exactly. But it's been almost 1 week now. The game,
Yeah,
time flies.
yeah,
But yeah, it was really cool, and I actually already starting work on new game projects with my brother.
awesome.
Pretty motivated to keep up on this great momentum I have.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just taking a big break. Now I feel like I'm at a really creative point. Feel really ready to just keep working, riding that creative wave.
Hmm.
And we'll take a break during the Christmas periods. But yeah, I think that's a really good thing I want to mention. One of the main things I learned with Dashing Fire is like a healthy work ethic and
Yeah,
how that can really ensure you have long term, consistency and just stay productive over the long term. Even if the days are shorter, you work a bit less and you take weekends off. If you have that tough, healthy frame, you'll be able to get a lot more done, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Most definitely. Yeah, I think having a consistent schedule that you can stick with is quite vital to make sure you aren't losing out on precious precious you time sort of thing, because a lot
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
it's very easy as a developer to get overindulged in the development process, and then that's when burnout starts coming into play, and you got to be
Exactly. And it's
careful.
been ages since I felt burned out now. Like since I feel early summer, I've really been respecting that all the time, and I just feel so good and really ready to keep creating games. It's such a
Yeah,
fun industry to be a part of. All
yeah,
these skills involved. It's wonderful.
yeah. No, I think it's something you also start picking up more and more as you progress through like game development,
Yeah,
because
definitely improved in that
yeah,
compared to the
right when
first
you
time I talked
start,
to you.
you're yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you don't
Well,
really
right when you start, it depends. I feel like
yeah,
it really depends, but you could get very excited about this job because it is pretty epic,
yeah,
and so then you could take a bit too far,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then start to not like it,
Hmm.
which is when you have to rekindle the passion again, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it in the long run. I think all the like the bumps in the road that you go over, like afterwards, after you go over those ones, it's like it's perfect, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
really fun. Like development as a whole is you know really enjoyable, I think, and
Oh, it is. It is.
yeah,
It certainly is. Not always, but that's only normal. It's our
yeah,
work really, so there has to be some times which are a bit trickier.
yeah. Someone someone has asked me to make a scared baby giraffe noise.
Oh, what? Who? Oh my goodness.
What an interesting
Well, go ahead, Matt. By all means.
I don't know
I
how
actually
to
needed a scared baby giraffe noise. I needed one for my game, so I'll
I,
just record that as a sound effect.
I don't even know how do you become a baby giraffe?
Something like those
Yeah, there you
squeaky
go.
giraffe toys that some babies have.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah.
are the the ones that are made of rubber
Yeah.
with a weird squeaky noise.
Yeah, I don't really I haven't heard a giraffe. I don't think.
But never heard one either.
I don't know what
I
noise
don't
they
know. I
make.
don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, but yeah. Um that was a really weird
That was
question.
distracting.
Oh, here we go. I have a question for Noah. What would you say you have improved on the most between your first game and Dashing Fire?
Oh yeah. Well, I think lots of little things. Even I mean, necessarily, I feel like if you do game development consistently, you're going to progress in all areas. Even if you don't actually notice it yourself, but just after a time, you are going to get better.
Yeah.
The classic skills like programming, art, game design, you're going to improve in all these areas. A big part, as I was saying just before, was I think the whole work ethic and kind of work-life balance. Since the Dreadful Whispers, I've really improved in that, which has just helped in everything else.
Mhm.
So I think that was a really big skill that I improved. Um, Game juice. I feel my games are getting more and more juicy
Oh yeah.
as I progress. So particle effects, just player feedback when they click on a button or they kill an enemy, making it impactful. I feel like I've gotten better at that. But yeah, I would say it's just like I've been like kind of a broad progress all in all. A year more of game development, I feel I've just improved all my skills a little bit, and I'll continue doing so over all the future years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint an exact skill uh, where I've really just drastically improved. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
it's more of a slower climb than just massive spikes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of game development, and it's like because especially when you're indie, you're working on a lot of different things, so you're broadening your skills for everything. So it's not
Yeah,
just you're not just expanding your artwork, you're also doing
no,
the
certainly, especially for
programming stuff.
solo
Yeah,
developers or really tiny teams, you're definitely going to be using so many skills.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And another really important skill that obviously improved at is just finishing. Finishing projects. That in
Hmm.
itself is a skill.
Yeah,
So I can finish another big game really reinforce that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm coming up to finishing my first game, and it is weird. It is really
Million,
weird.
yeah, Millions of Minions.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
name,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's such a cool name. I love that. Millions of Minions. And I see like you've got a nice poster of the game
Oh
behind you.
yeah, yeah, right there.
That's pretty stylish. I need to really decorate my place more. Have some posters myself.
Yeah, look,
So
I've
that's
also
pretty
got
funky.
a custom
Oh,
phone case. Yeah,
oh, nice,
yeah,
nice.
it's quite cool. But yeah, I went to a
Sure.
right at the start of the year. I went to a convention, and it is a really weird experience. Obviously, now with everything going on, there hasn't been
Oh,
any
with
other
COVID,
conventions.
yeah,
But
sure.
like beforehand, when I did go to the convention, it was really quite interesting. Just sort of
Wait, so do you actually go to a convention to show your game,
yeah,
Millions of
yeah,
Minions?
yeah,
Oh, really? Wow. Well,
yeah.
how did that go?
It went well. I mean, this was quite an early build of the game, so but looking back at the build, because we have all the builds saved, right? And
Right.
looking back at that build, the
Oh,
artwork and the design was just like ooh,
well, that's a good sign that your
yeah,
game is improving at least
yeah.
drastically.
No, I think the um recently we updated Unity versions because of some of the stuff we have to do for the Xbox port. Because yeah, I'm porting the game to Xbox alone,
Oh,
which
right.
is
Oh, wow.
it's quite a feat. But yeah, the one of the requirements was to update Unity, and I didn't even think that upgrading like the pipeline and stuff would really drastically improve graphics as much as they did. Like well, I say drastically, it's like little minuscule things. Like it makes it
But
look a little
combined,
bit more
they add a
polished.
big
Yeah,
difference, you feel?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's quite interesting. But yeah, no. Back when I showed that off, and I
That must be
met
a
like
fun experience.
yeah,
It's
there
scary but fun. Going to a convention, seeing people directly play your game and stuff must have
yeah,
been.
yeah. It was really weird because I think I probably met about 1,000 people in that like weekend. It was it
Oh,
was
wow.
quite
What was
crazy.
this convention called?
It's called Play Expo. It's only in the UK, but yeah,
Right.
it was really
And
quite
you can
fun.
just get a place, like if you subscribe, can you get a place? Like anywhere you
Yeah,
can get a place, or do
yeah.
you have to show your game beforehand
I think
to like,
I think you show off your game beforehand. I can't really remember how I did it. Like I actually
right?
have no idea how I got in. I kind of forgot.
Because
um,
I imagine there's a limited amount of space in these
yeah,
places, so they have to choose certain games that they're going to allow
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to to present.
Yeah,
Okay,
there were six indie studios in this one area. We just sort of had our own little table, and it was really cool. Like we just had
nice.
each of us had like our own table,
Did you
and
have some
yeah,
artwork and stuff of your game
yeah, yeah,
around
yeah,
it? It's like, okay,
yeah. People had like banners and stuff, and yeah, it was crazy. Like
cool.
there was this person advertising their this pirate game, and they dressed up as pirates,
All right.
and it was a really interesting thing to see
They were
because
definitely in the role, which was
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
You should have dressed up as a minion
yeah. I don't really know
behind you.
how to how I would do
Or
that.
just, I have no idea. You'd have to make a custom outfit or something
Yeah,
to
I'm
have the
very
red robes.
I wish I could say my art was up to scratch for that. It's not. I have no
Uh,
idea how to even.
like, who made the artwork for your game? 'Cause it
That's
looks really nice.
yeah, that's our artist for the game. Yeah, he made that.
Excellent. Okay, so like a whole other person who's making the
Yeah,
artwork.
yeah, yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah. We have
How many are working on that game again?
there's
There's
five of
you,
us.
five of them. Okay,
Yeah, yeah. It's
nice.
very interesting. I do a lot of the programming stuff. And then our artist also does some programming as well. So like we all do a lot of everything, and then we have like two sound designers and then a marketing person, which is very helpful.
Okay.
But yeah, uh, Reese has a question for you. What were your best methods for marketing and setting up a successful launch?
Um, Interesting question. So Dashing Fire's launch, I mean, the marketing was completely, mostly, I would say 95% relies completely on just YouTube, my dev,
Yeah,
and the audience there, kind of like what I did for the Dreadful Whispers. So I wouldn't say I improved that much on marketing in this whole year.
yeah,
That's one skill I know I've kind of stagnated in a bit and will need to put in more work on that in the future. So that was purely just making devlog videos. Thankfully, I already had quite a decent sized audience, so
yeah,
I launched the game, and there were already a core base of people who are going to buy it. I think no matter what, which is pretty epic. But yeah, I think I still need to improve my marketing because the game wasn't just a massive financial success, and I don't think I've even like considering the game was made in almost a year. I've definitely not made enough money currently
yeah,
to to justify that amount of time. But that's not a big problem for me because I've got other sources of revenue, and the main goal is to learn, to finish games and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, that was the pure method of marketing. It was just YouTube videos telling the audience I've launched the game and cross my fingers that they would buy it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no publishers. There was no. I hardly contacted any press really. Uh, so yeah, not massively. Not got much advice there, sadly.
yeah, yeah. I think that's just something that you like you sort of pick up much like with getting like a consistent schedule. It's something that you pick up, I think, because it's quite difficult to sort of designate time for marketing on its own, and it's definitely about probably I'd say about a month or two ago. I spent about 3 months trying to learn like how you can market products and stuff, and
Yeah,
and then I asked one of my friends if he could help me, with handling all the social media stuff because it's a lot of work doing the game itself and then the marketing. It's like another beast that you have to tame,
it is.
and then
Actually, yeah, marketing's like just a whole massive skill in
yeah,
itself, a
yeah,
whole massive job.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then I've already got like other projects that hit there to support the business as well. So like I've got to do those. So I got to do this. So like it's really difficult to sort of designate time for just
sure.
marketing. But yeah, the this friend, like I just passed on everything that I knew about like marketing a good product and stuff, and yeah, we've seen like I think it's almost a 200 follower growth in the past month, which is pretty
Oh,
good.
nice.
So that's like
Yeah.
100% growth basically. We've doubled.
Oh, well
So
done,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it's definitely been a lot better than what it was, but it's
Yeah,
one of those things that with marketing it just sort of you get better at it as you go along, I find.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill that you can, but you have to kind of do a conscious effort on marketing. It can be tricky,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah, staying consistent I'd say is the issue with it. Like it's not necessarily like I think it's just because you sort of forget about it, really. Like it's something that you just sort of
that could be. I think yeah, you could get quite sucked in, especially if you're a very small team. Like when I was making Dashing Fire, basically I was creating the whole game on my own except for the music.
mhm,
Everything else, so marketing, art, design, everything was me. So it was quite easy to get just sucked in to the game project. I just wanted to make progress on that, and
yeah.
not really thinking too much about like showing it to anybody, or even like kind of remembering you want to show it to other people, but you just feel like it's not good yet enough
Yeah.
as you're kind of just working and saying, oh, I'll share it in a month or two, or I'll
Or
make this
like you have
trailer
the
later.
or you have the worry that you're gonna spoil something.
Or that, yes.
Yeah,
You say, I've got nothing to show after, everybody's going to see. But that was a kind of a concern, and still is a little bit of a concern, is that in devlog videos, you have shared too much of your game.
yeah.
So then when
But
it
I
actually
think
does launch, people are not that interested because they feel like they've seen
yeah.
so much of it on the channel already.
Yeah, I
So
think
that
that's
is something
something
that's
that
kind of interesting.
you sort of have to try to give away a little bit. I find like you have to like
You have to keep the mystery.
yeah, like I think at least at the start of like your development journey, like when you haven't really picked up too much, like I think like a good way of growing, especially if your game isn't, you know, super huge and like the chances of you spoiling something is pretty high anyway because you're sharing
Yeah,
content. So I think you just got to sort of try and be less harsh with it. I think that's what we've found. Like we were just like we don't want to really show any of the bosses because you know it might spoil something, and then you know we were like actually it's probably not the smartest way of going about it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a really tough like juggling act. But I think you sort of again, I think just development as a whole is just a learning experience. Like I think a lot of people sort of just think of development as something that you can just pick up. Like, I think that's a common misconception is that like you can pick it up and you can like you'll be amazing at it, you know, and then when they get hit with like you know something that goes wrong then they're like
like
oh
oh shit. Yeah,
yeah exactly yeah I don't know. I mean, I haven't really had that myself, but like I know there are people out there that have like given up because of it. So I think it's just something that
yeah,
you just got to be disciplined with yourself as well, you know, because some people are just
right,
too lenient, which is a
right,
problem.
right. Then there's, yeah. So yeah, for marketing, I mean, it's also about like there's also slight confusion sometimes about whether or not it's your game that's just maybe not good enough and you have to just continue improving your game dev skills,
Yeah,
or whether it's just the marketing that wasn't good. But it could most of the times a bit of both. Um, it's hard to break the myth of a good game will just sell on its own. It's always you're never sure if that is really
yeah,
true. Like, will an amazing game eventually sell on its own? Like, I feel like sometimes that could be the case, but sometimes probably not. Like, sometimes I'm sure there are many amazing games that we've just never heard of.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's like
marketing definitely an important skill to grow and feed, and definitely improve.
yeah, I think it's like with you know like Fall Guys for example. You know how like that
Oh yeah,
rose like out of nowhere sort of thing.
exponentially. It was a
Um,
massive
yeah,
explosion.
but like you know that company they had made 130 games beforehand, so you know like they
Yeah,
they were doing loads before, and it just you know
it
it's
wasn't
just
an
went up.
overnight success. No,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah, yeah. I think there are definitely outliers in that though, because there are a lot of developers that have you know been lucky in that regard. But I think even if you have like an overnight success, like I think I wonder if they have like the sort of like you know they'll do this they'll have this overnight success and then they'll just think they can sort of like lay back a little bit, whereas
Hmm.
really I think you should just sort of just you know keep going with it rather than like getting too lenient because I think that's how you could
Yeah,
break out of it, but I don't know. I haven't had an overnight
yeah.
success, I wouldn't know.
For Fall Guys, I mean, that was just an enormous success. So I feel like I heard a few rumors here and there that the game was maybe losing in popularity, just
Yeah,
maybe true or not. But whether it's true or not, I think they've already left a huge mark,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's always going to be a hardcore fan base, I think, of that game.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, they're doing well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just quite interesting that like I think the definition of indie is quite funny to me. Like you know they're known as an indie company, but there's like 200 employees. It's like
Yeah, that was a bit weird. That actually, when I checked the credits of the game, I just saw this never-ending list of names. I'm
yeah,
like, what? I thought this was a very small team, but
yeah,
there's a lot of like translation names, and then I feel like a lot of indie game companies, even if they're core people, it's like only 4 or 5 people, they still, for some reason, really almost like they just put names and names of people that have done very small things, and they almost give them those names as much importance as their own. Like
yeah,
I feel a lot of companies are trying to, the actual core developers are trying to blend in with all the other people that might
yeah,
have played a very small part, like translation or just porting the game to X platform. And there's like 10 developers have done that. Even though like that lead developer might have done most of the work, it still feels like the company is huge because
yeah,
they've got all these things, and also like all the play testers. Maybe they've got each one's got a
yeah,
name,
yeah. I
so
mean,
they can quickly, yeah, I feel like a huge company.
Yeah,
when really it's still quite small.
yeah. I don't know. I
For
mean,
Fall Guys, I'm not sure though.
I think it is 200 employees. I think.
It's not surprising. That seems like an awful lot of employees.
Yeah,
But again, who knows? Like in those 200, how many did most of the work,
yeah, exactly.
and how many just did a smaller
Yeah,
part?
because 50 of that could be QA for all you know. You have
Exactly,
no idea.
exactly. Yeah, that could be it.
But I have no idea. Yeah, I haven't really. I just heard that there was 200 employees, and I was like, that's not very
You also
indie.
wonder how this sort of multiplayer games, if they're not coming from a known company or that, how do they get off the ground? Like, because
Yeah,
Fall Guys, for example, a single game requires at least 60 players, I think.
yeah,
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 60. So, like, when the game just launched, there surely wasn't enough players. Or maybe there was, but there must have been a time where there weren't many
yeah,
players. So, how did they get that ball rolling? Did
yeah.
they use bots
Ah,
or something else?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows?
but I think another good example is like Among Us. That also
Oh,
just
yeah.
it
Exploded
it
as
was
well.
2 years ago
I think
it
the
was
solution is to
released.
make bean-shaped characters.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I need to do.
yeah.
Fall Guys and Among Us definitely have that in common. The bean-shaped character.
Yeah,
And Among Us, I was playing it very recently um, for the first time and really enjoyed it. Really, really great game. So innovative, so interesting. But you can't help notice the very crude menus
I know.
and
Yeah,
art styles. Everything's very wonky and
yeah,
not super polished. But
hmm
then that also shows that to make an amazing game, all the polish, all the game juice and stuff, it's a great bonus, but it's not necessary. Because
yeah,
Among Us, for example, is a good example of an amazing game not being extremely polished, but still being a huge hit
yeah,
and a
yeah,
great experience.
yeah. Most definitely. I mean, I think that game was made by two people, which is absolutely crazy. Like
Three people, I think. Yeah, it's a
three.
tiny team. Yeah, I think there's two artists and one programmer.
God.
Um,
Oh,
yeah.
I feel bad for the programmer.
Oh
That
yeah,
would
yeah.
have been
A lot of
oh
programming and the
mm,
servers and stuff must have been just exploding.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I dread to think.
Just imagine the shock of that small team launching their game 3 years ago, getting hardly any attention, and then suddenly they're just like the center of the center of attention. Like everybody's playing a mass,
Yeah.
which is just
I don't even
incredible.
know where it came from. It just sort of
I think a Twitch streamer, and then it just snowballs into something massive.
yeah. I have no idea. It's just it's crazy because
Yeah,
like it just goes to show like finishing a
it's definitely
product is
exciting.
yeah. It just
It
goes to
kind of
show
makes you feel like you could do something crazy too,
yeah.
and that might come
Exactly.
into a
Exactly. It just goes to show that like, making a finished product can like have a really good outcome in the end. Like cuz
yeah.
you know, they finished their game like 3 years ago or whenever it was and then, it picked up popularity 3 years later. So,
Right.
might as well just finish the game, I suppose. I mean, I think it's it's one of the like the biggest like things that everyone says in the indie community. I find like everyone's saying like finish your
Yeah.
game, and it is
True.
true.
So
Yeah,
it's true. It is important. I think there's a very fine balance. Sometimes a project is going to be just way too huge and is never going to finish, and you
yeah,
have to quit it. But I think 90% of the time, if you've started a little game or something, you've got to finish it, even if you're not enjoying yourself or
yeah,
the or it's full of bugs and stuff. Trying to finish it and launch it,
yeah,
important stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I think the euphoria that you get after finishing something, like in general, in any task, anyway.
I think it's
You know,
pretty good. Definitely, it's definitely nice. I mean, less and less I feel like a massive euphoria when launching it. You
yeah,
still, even when you launch it, you kind of feel like you still need to continue a bit.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
fix a few bugs and stuff. So it never feels like a complete stop. More of a gradual stop. Like Dashing Fire will become less and less important in my life. Like it was really important for launch, and
yeah,
now it's gradually gaining less importance. But what leaves you finishing a project is much more than just like a big high. It's more of like I would say a nice consistent growth. You don't get a huge high of it. Sometimes you do a little
yeah.
bit, but I think the
Well, I
most
think
valuable is that confidence you'll have built
yeah.
to have finished it.
Yeah, and I think you get those, the euphoria boost when you finish like tasks of your game more so than actually
Yeah,
finishing the game itself.
or you start feeling like your game's really coming together. And you
Yeah.
like that's one of the best parts when you start to make a game and initially you feel it's good. then throughout development you start feeling, oh, it's not that great anymore. And then you do something, you add something, you get a new insight,
Yeah.
and you feel like suddenly, oh, this is actually a really interesting game. So glad I'm making this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, throughout the development journey, there's definitely going to be times where you get those nice highs, but mostly it's more of a slow, gradual, enjoyment in the process.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of that of game dev is more slow than just big bursts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'd
patience is
agree.
key for any game developer out there. Also, it's very
Yeah.
important to be patient when that process could take a long time to learn any skill. Finish a game can just be very long,
Oh yeah.
but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely
No,
worth it.
definitely worth it. Ollie asks, what are the upsides and downsides to sharing your game through devlogs? Ooh.
Oh, so as we quickly mentioned, I think one of the downsides is definitely spoiling your game. So when
Mm-hmm.
it does come out, people might be less inclined to buy it because they feel like they've already seen most of it in the devlogs. So I think it's definitely a fine balance and quite a challenge to make devlogs that are both interesting, insightful, but also keeping a lot of your game hidden, which is something I'm kind of struggled with a little bit, and I'm definitely going to be changing things up going forward. Got lots of cool ideas coming up
Mm-hmm.
on how to solve that. Um, but yeah, that was one big drawback I think for me is just the spoiling of it. Another one is just the time spent making devlogs is time away spent away from making your actual game. So it takes time, but I don't mind because I really enjoy making videos.
Yeah.
Definitely like a second passion for me, really
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
videos, and I love it. So I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, the upside is that you're talking about you're building up an audience that's potentially excited about your game,
Mm-hmm.
and you're also going through that type of process where you're talking about your game. So hopefully, you're also thinking about what you might want to do in the future.
Yeah.
You're kind of planning about it. Um, you're also really interesting is you put the game out there, so you're less likely to quit
Mm-hmm.
because people know that you're creating it, so you won't give up on the sly. That's a pretty big advantage, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the benefits definitely outweigh the negatives. Making devlogs is tons of fun. You build up an audience. You're oh, I can't find the word. You're accountable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's definitely I'd definitely say a big factor of devlogs is that there's a lot of accountability for your game.
yes.
Yeah, because you don't want to disappoint your audience. Yeah,
No.
that's definitely
It's like yeah, yeah, definitely. It's great for that. And
yeah,
also, yeah, you're learning this whole new skill, which is video editing,
yeah.
marketing, storytelling in the video.
And when it comes
Great
to
stuff.
making the trailer, you've got all this editing knowledge. So boom.
Yes, exactly. You can use it to put that to good use.
Yeah, yeah. Sol asked earlier, was there something whilst working on Dashing Fire that happened that made you want to give up, like a game-breaking bug?
Ooh, I would say one of the main thing, like funnily enough, with Dashing Fire, I hardly had any major programming issues. Or if I did, they were very short. Like I would solve them in an hour maximum. That was like the biggest issue. But
Wow.
really, I had no problem programming the game. From a technical point of view, Dashing Fire was a breeze. Game design was also the whole game had little challenges, lots of mini challenges, but none of them I would say actually made me feel like quitting the game.
Yeah.
The biggest part where I felt like quitting the game was when I took this huge pause, and it was not really a planned pause at all. It was just one of those times where 1 week falls the next, and you're just not doing anything in your game. And the more you think about that, the more you think, oh no, I don't want to work on it.
Yeah.
So that was like a period between March and May, June, where I was hardly working on Dashing Fire, and so certainly coming back to the game after such a long pause it took I think a lot of willpower to actually sit down and get cracking in the game again. So I would say that there was definitely that whole period where I could have possibly quit the project and started something new.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm really grateful I didn't. After quitting projects can become a habit. That's a dangerous habit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I pushed through after that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the biggest thing. Taking
Yeah.
a huge pause off the game that wasn't planned was about to make me quit.
Yeah, it's definitely a real big common thing, and I think it's very easy for people to sort of blame themselves for it as well. And I think that's
The pause thing. Well, I feel like the pause. that I took, that huge pause that was unintentional, was definitely burnout. But that was kind of my fault also.
Yeah.
And again, I've definitely improved on that massively since the summertime, because my work-life balance was completely all over the place. There was no structure, no. Um, my work was very inconsistent between like huge bursts of work, very intense, working late to the night, and weeks where I wasn't working at all. Whereas now I've really got that like 9 to 5 almost work habit with weekends in the middle, and that just makes all the difference. And you just sit down, you're sitting down to work, you get the work done, even if you don't feel like it too much. Some days you feel like it a lot, and during the weekends you relax. So that really helps with burnout massively. Like I don't see myself ever getting into that massive pause of just not doing anything again. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going to be consistently working and creating.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think that.
Hopefully,
Hopefully, yeah.
in a year, like, oh shit, yes, I just took 5 months off here. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
No, really, I feel like I feel good now. I think the burnout won't be as much of an issue as it was um, during the Dreadful Whispers developments and early Dashing Fire.
Yeah. And I think when we were when we last spoke, one of the times we talked about like how helpful different like changing your workspace was, like, and trying to sort of
Yes.
alter the
Yeah.
environment a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
and do you think you've been able to do that at all?
Definitely been able to improve. Oh, yeah, massively.
Yeah.
You that see all these little things that you might even feel are unrelated to game development and the success you have in your projects. All these things I think feed so much into how well you're going to do, like in your career, your game development journey.
Yeah.
So that message, I've got an actual office now.
Mm-hmm.
So I go home at night and I go to the office during the day, and that's wonderful. Like I just love it. I love going to the office in the day. I love going back at home at night. And it really just creates a nice cut, between your work and whatever else you're doing. So huge change. I would so recommend anybody who's, especially people who are working full time as an independent game developer, artist, whatever, to not put their desk next to their bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge mistake. That is just something to avoid at all costs. Because you're just confined to this one room all the time, and you're sleeping and you're working at the same place.
Yeah.
It's all muddled up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
having an office, massive game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Also,
agree.
I've got a standing desk now. I've got an adjustable desk, so I can work and stand at the same
Oh
time,
wow.
which is something I've wanted for ages, and that's actually excellent. Really changing posture and standing makes
Yeah.
you, I don't know, feel a bit more energized at times.
Mm-hmm.
So great there.
Yeah, I mean, I've also changed my room, so like now I'm away from my bed, and yeah,
Nice.
it really fixes things up because
Yeah. Sadly, I mean, quite a few people might not have the space or
yeah,
the money to get an extra place, so sometimes it's inevitable to work and sleep in the same place. In which case, it's really important to do a lot of sport, to not work all the time,
yeah,
to have nice pauses and stuff,
yeah,
which will help.
yeah. You really need to get out of the room.
Oh yeah, it really is so important. Like really, variety, crazy, crazy how key it is to longer term success.
Yeah, most definitely. Do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years still going solo, or would you want to build a small team of people to join Blackthornprod?
Oh, definitely a small team. Definitely, like already since finishing Dashing Fire, so a few weeks before my brother joined me, and he's really like working on games, improving his own game dev skills in that full time. So the game I'm currently working on right now is with my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already two, which is much better than one.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to be collaborating with composers. They're Dashing Fire and the Dreadful Whispers was with Dave Allen. But certainly, I love working solo. It was really enjoyable. But I think I prefer that much more working in a small team. It's almost irreplaceable. Like you can't replace that feeling of working in a team, the help that comes with it, just sharing, the successes, failures. So enjoyable.
Yeah.
So yeah, ideally continue working at two minimum, or even more. Like maybe in the future, actually, at having a like super giant games. They're like a team of 10, still very indie, still very nice, and close and stuff. Not a huge company or anything, but that feels really cool. So
yeah.
I definitely see in the future a bigger team.
Yeah. I most definitely do too. I mean, like we all, obviously me and one other person have been here from the start. And yeah, I'd never go back solo. Like I couldn't.
Yeah.
I think
Like I think I would be okay working solo still.
yeah,
It wouldn't be my massive choice, but I would be okay
yeah,
doing
I'd be
it
okay
because
with
I've
it,
done it so.
but it's
Yeah,
not what
yeah,
I would choose to do. Yeah,
yeah.
like
I wouldn't choose it as the first option, but if it's the only option, it can still be a very enjoyable process
yeah,
working solo.
yeah,
As long as you're still staying balanced outside of work, solo doesn't need to be a massively depressing experience. It can
yeah,
still be really nice
yeah.
and creative and enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I
But
think
as we said, not the first choice.
yeah, solo has the leniency. I think you can be a lot more lenient with yourself, but when you're with a team, you do have a lot more like you have a bit more of a constraint, but it's a good constraint. I find like for me, it's
Yeah,
like having a team behind me. Like it sort of makes me it definitely motivates me to keep on going and not give up, and that's what stopped me from getting into a burnout state. I think is like we have a we used to use Discord, but now we're using Microsoft Teams. But
hmm
beforehand, like or and the same now, like we have a channel in both where all like the GitHub like commits and stuff that are made, like it notifies us, so we know when like a change has been made.
Oh,
And
that's exciting. Yeah, to
I
go in,
yeah
see what's been made, what's different, what's changed on the project.
yeah
Nice.
it really has helped dramatically, and it's only like this
Great. Yeah.
just a webhook, and it's just sending it. And yeah, it's really quite helpful. And yeah, I definitely
Awesome. Yeah.
keep on doing it because I think it's really improved my workflow. Because you've constantly got like a reminder, like these notifications pop up. You're like, what's that? And it's just like a GitHub commit. You're like, oh, that game.
Oh. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people have to really see for themselves what works best for them. I think some people might even work better solo. Some people work well in small teams, others in big teams.
Yeah.
I think all have their benefits and inconveniences. And I feel like I've really experienced really well, solo developments, um, which has been great. And I've also enjoyed teamwork, mostly with music composers or my brother or Jonas even during game jams.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they all have their place.
Yeah.
It can all be really enjoyable.
Yeah. They definitely can. I think it's very it's very helpful having a team behind you because it's very easy to like get lost in your own project and lose direction. I think.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like
it can happen.
not I don't know how to sort of say it. Like we have like our game pitch, right? And if any of
hmm
us like sort of forget, like like sometimes you sort of lose a bit of your direction in your design. Like it can be like a bit of a common thing
Yeah.
sometimes, and like just saying just saying like the pitch out loud, like and you're like, oh yeah.
Of course, that can happen. Oh yeah, I think having a conversation with teammates,
Yeah.
it has so many benefits. But one of them is definitely staying on track on your game,
Mhm.
or having to justify, why you want to make a change, and just justifying it, needing to justify it, will you'll give you pause and you'll say, oh, do I really need to do this? Is the game really that bad,
Yeah.
or am I just kind of is this more of an excuse just to change project in a way almost?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm curious, in terms of like task management stuff, how have you kept on track of that? Like, what has been your go-to solution?
So for Dashing Fire and all my other solo projects, it's really been very simple planning. Recently, I've really been using Trello, which I really like now. I think
Hmm.
most people know Trello.
Yeah,
Very simple drag and drop interface. We've got three lists, to do, doing, done. Usually the night before, I write the things I want to do the next day. So I go in the morning, I kind of know exactly what I'm supposed to work on,
yeah,
put that in the doing list, and just get to work on that.
yeah,
Like I don't spend huge amounts of time planning, which maybe I should do a bit more of. It's true that I don't look too far ahead. I maybe look at maximum a week ahead of what I want to do. But that's like really maximum. Most days, like just I take every day as a new day and just try and work the best I can during that day, which works pretty well so far. Keeps things simple, simple plans, and you just act on them and create your game bit by bit.
Hmm.
But Trello, I think is cool for task management.
Yeah, 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 most
Of
definitely.
course, being a solo developer, I guess it's easier to plan things than if you're in a team. You might need a bit more structure and a bit more. You need communication. You need to all communicate and know
Yeah,
what everybody's doing, so you can advance the best you can.
yeah, yeah.
So already there's more planning I feel with my brother, and it's really enjoyable.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean,
like I know he's, for example, like I know he's going to program things, so I better make arts that's going to complement whatever he's coding. Like if he's coding a new anime, better make some art for that anime.
yeah.
Or if I'm making lots of menus and stuff, he'll know he'll need to maybe code out those menus and make them work.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we we have our meetings every Sunday, and yeah, that's been really helpful because you just sort of because with Trello, like especially when you get closer and closer to the end of the project, you just have these really small tasks, and like you just sort of have to make sure these tasks are definitely all you need to do. So like making sure you're up to date with them is very
Yeah.
important because sometimes like you'll write out all these tasks and then you'll be like, oh shit, there's actually more I need to do. Yeah, it's very
Right.
possible.
Oh yeah, very easy. And I've had that with Dashing Fire before it launched a few months. I would say 2 or 3 months before launch. I felt like I was my to-do list was constantly refilling itself,
Yeah, yeah,
very naturally. I would just do tons of things and just come up with tons of more ideas and say, oh, there's all this to do now, and
yeah,
just on and on it went. Um, all of it made my game better, thankfully.
yeah.
Feedback also is a huge thing. With a playtester called Yan, he was constantly giving me bucketfuls of
Oh,
things I should fix or improve. So yeah,
yeah. Um, and someone has asked, how do you write your stories and plan them out?
how do I write stories and plan them out? Huh. Well, usually it's just a very kind of spontaneous thing. I feel like it comes to mind, a story or a theme
Yeah,
that feels interesting, that could be cool to make a game on. And from there, usually I write a kind of vague outline of the story and how it would maybe translate into gameplay. But mostly it just really evolves throughout development.
yeah.
Very rarely have I come up with an idea, a story, or a game idea, and it being just completely static throughout all development.
Hmm.
Because never that. It just starts has something, and then it grows into something quite different often.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I feel like I quite like that. Uh, just going into the development of a game, not having all the answers, because that could be easily you could just remain paralyzed after thinking, oh, what do I what do I create? I want to think of the perfect idea and so on. So that just makes you completely paralyzed and you don't want to really make any mistakes. So whereas if you just kind of go into development with more of a vague idea, so like something slightly more flexible that you can change over time, I think that's the best.
Yeah,
Or that's what works well for me anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Going
I think
in, knowing things will change.
Yeah, I think everyone has their own sort of work, and it also depends on the game you're making. Because if you're making a, a story-driven game, then yeah, make
Yeah,
sure that you've written a lot of plans for that. Because I would assume, well, I don't know, I haven't made a story-driven like game before, but like I would assume you need to write quite a lot about like how things are gonna go. But yeah, just making sure you have like an open mind in development as a whole as well. Like making sure you're open to change because if someone suggests, hey, I don't know, this artwork looks like trash, let's say, then you'll be, and then if that has like a, I don't know, well, you don't have to, but obviously you know what I mean. Like you can take it into account,
yeah.
and yeah,
I see. Yeah, sure.
it's very important, and yeah, making sure you have an open mind is vital to make sure that you don't lose lose direction as well. Yeah,
Yeah, if you're too rigid with the idea and stuff from the get go, then it might be a bit tricky. Like it's almost impossible to write down a game idea on paper and have that game be perfect when you implement it inside of Unity.
Hmm.
Never going to happen. So it's always going to be twists and turns and
Yeah.
maneuvers to make throughout development,
Hmm.
which is part of the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Both of you, do you see yourselves primarily as game designers, game programmers, or game artists?
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not an artist, so
Yeah,
I
I'm definitely not a game. I don't see myself primarily as a game programmer. Even though I do a ton of programming, I don't see myself as that primarily. So I would be split between game designer and game artist.
yeah.
Things I do all three of these things. I do so much of. I do them almost in equal amounts. But perhaps I would say game. ah, I'm going to answer based. I'm going to answer based on what I enjoy most between these three areas of indie game dev. I'm not sure because I like making game art and designing games
Yeah.
almost as much, but just in very different ways. So I would say I'm split between game art and game design.
Yeah, I'm split
Um,
between game programming and game design. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they're such amazing things.
th-
And those are just three things of indie game developments. Then there's all the marketing side, as we
then there's
discussed.
all the tiny things that like
The story
crop
side,
up.
which I'm not sure we could consider game design. I think story is quite a different thing, really,
Yeah,
altogether.
that's like narrative design, yeah.
Yeah, narrative design. There's the um, yeah, all the UI making, which I guess is game art.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh no,
it's quite a
he's
beast.
asked another question. It's gonna.
Oh,
If you
which
were in
ones
a
would you?
studio, which roles would you hire others to do if you had to pick one? Oh,
Oh, if I had to pick just one skill for me to do,
for you to hire someone to do.
also game programming for sure. I would definitely hire a great game programmer
Yeah,
to help me out.
yeah. For me, it'd probably be an artist. Yeah, or maybe someone in the audio stuff would be quite helpful. Like having someone just there
Oh yeah,
constantly.
of course. Yeah, I forgot about that. A composer, so a programmer and a musician, sound effects person.
Yeah.
That would be my
There's so many things
pick.
I have. There's just literally so many like different jobs that go into it.
Matt would simply like to observe the development process from a perch on the wall, and
Yeah.
he'll direct his minions to do the work for him.
Yeah, I'll become a like it would just
Project manager.
yeah, there we go. That sounds like a fun job. I mean, I do enjoy
Yeah.
project management. I think it's quite fascinating. But I don't think I could
Oh
just
yeah.
I don't think I could just do one. Like I don't think I could just do one thing in a in the game development like side of things because I feel like I'd just get bored really quickly.
Possible. Yeah, I've grown so used to having such a big part to play in every single aspect of the game development process that I would also find it hard to just model trees
Yeah.
or something. So yeah.
What games heavily inspired you and your games? Ooh.
Spelunky. Absolutely love it. Amazing game. Currently playing the sequel, Spelunky 2. Loved Limbo, Slay the Spire, Super Meat Boy, and The Binding of Isaac, Skyrim. All the list goes on and on, really. So many amazing games that have inspired me in some way. Hades, currently absolutely loving that from Supergiant.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
beautiful games.
I don't think
So many amazing,
there's just
amazing
so
games out there.
many. There's so many games out there, yeah, that have inspired me. And
Wasn't your biggest inspiration Matt, Dashing Fire?
oh yeah,
I think you
yeah,
were
yeah,
saying
of
that.
course.
Yeah, I think you were saying that to me a few days ago.
Yeah,
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 that was an amazing game. Absolutely incredible.
Cutting edge. Wow, the
Cutting edge.
graphics.
Yeah.
Oh
Oof.
man. No, I don't know. I don't think I have a. There's not one game that I could say heavily inspired me. That's for sure. Like that, it's just a amalgamation of every single indie game has inspired me in some way. Like a lot of indies have had a big influence over my development styles and stuff. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think if anyone else has any questions, quickly ask them. Um, oh, here we go. Surprised no one asked. Any plans for your next game? Or
Oh, certainly. Lots of plans, and I'm actually already working on my next game. It's going to be a small game that we're actually creating in 7 days. and we'll be doing three or four of these very small 1 week long projects with my
Ah,
brother. Um, so yeah, we're just creating a very small little projects, and then starting from 2021 January, we'll be creating a bigger game. We've already got quite a few ideas. I don't want to say anything for now, so that would spoil the surprise that we have in store. But definitely stay tuned on my channel, and I'll be posting every single game I create. So excited!
yeah.
Gonna be making
Oh, that's
some cool
exciting.
things, I think.
Awesome.
But yeah, I could say it's a strategy game. The game we're currently creating in a week here, and that we're halfway through development. I would say on this little project, it's going to be a strategy game,
Ooh,
and it's pretty
bro.
cool already.
I love strategy games, so you
Ah,
perfect.
nice,
All right. Well, oh, I
awesome.
do have
Well,
one
my face is
question.
just blinded by the sun.
Yeah, I've
It looks
seen the
like a
sun
white
rays
squid. Yeah,
just chasing after you.
like I've got this white hand here.
Oh, someone has one more question. What is your
Oh,
ideal game to make if you have one?
oh, an ideal game to create. Oh, there's none specific really. Just when I'm having a good time, that feels like the ideal game in the moment. But then it can change very easily.
Yeah, yeah,
So I really don't have any fixed ideal game. Like there's no ideal genre that I like creating more than others yet. I don't have any niche area or anything. I'm just games, and I'm just at the start. Like I've only been creating games for 4 years now, so this is just the beginning.
hmm
Still massively learning, and yeah, I think tons of different ideal games that I could be making.
yeah, yeah. And people are asking all the
Oh,
questions now. Are you gonna do a game jam before the end of this year?
that's interesting. I'm not 100% sure yet. I think that could be interesting and that could be fun, but I'm not sure. Can't say yet.
Yeah,
Need
that's
to
what I'd
decide.
like to do, but my game's kind of releasing next month, so I can't.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh, it's
don't
gonna be
think I
tricky.
have time. But awesome. All right. Well, Noah, it's been great having you on today, and
Thank you, man,
yeah,
for having me on. Yeah, yeah, it was
we'll,
really cool
we'll,
talking to you.
we'll probably have you on again. Let's be honest.
So I think when I'm 80 years old, you're 78 or whatever, and we'll both be like old men and kind of discussing our long career uh, with the Indie Dev Chat number 100. Um, with me as a guest. Yes, that'll probably happen if we continue along this path.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. Right. Well, everyone, make sure that you tune in to the next episode with Jonas later on tonight. And yeah,
Oh yes,
that'll be fun.
that
Yeah,
will be fun.
I just love how you're getting blinded by the sun.
Completely blinded here. Yeah. Ah,
All right.
all
Awesome.
right. Well,
Well,
cheerio, everybody.
yeah. Bye, everyone.